You're listening to Rock on Record with Denise Babington. Today we will talk with Norman Skinner of Forbidden. We talk rebirth, aftershock, and what's next. What was your initial reaction when you were approached to join the rebirth of Forbidden?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that at all. I really didn't even know the guys that well. I helped them out with some rehearsals for this Bay Area International thing they were doing for a festival over in the Netherlands called Dynamo.
Oh.
And I guess I did a good job, so they invited me to do the U.S. version at the Great American Music Hall. So, you know, and during that I ended up doing one Forbidden song and then another to help them out, and then a different Forbidden song at that show. And I could tell there was a reaction, right? People really loved it. And they told me, yeah, we might do some more Bay Area International stuff, so, you know, expect a call at some point. And, yeah, it was about 2 months later, I do get a phone call, but it wasn't for Bay Area International, it was for Forbidden. So I was a little caught off guard, to say the least. I answered the phone and said, yeah, how's it going, you know? And he's like, let me just cut to the chase. You know, how would you like to be the new lead singer for Forbidden?
Wow, yeah.
And I think it took me less than, 5 seconds to say, yep, I'm in, because this is a band I grew up with, a legendary band. And, my whole career, I've just been fighting it out in the trenches. And this is just like a really great opportunity. Plus, I love the music. So it was a no-brainer for me. I didn't consult with the family or anything. I went with it.
I can't blame you at all. What was the chemistry like after you started rehearsing with the newly reborn lineup?
It was different. It was awkward, honestly. I mean, like I said, I didn't really know these guys. I've worked with a lot of different bands, but I was stepping into, I'm very new school. I'm used to working with remote, and we send files, and it's very new and, technical. Mm-hmm. These guys are very old school. Bunch of guys getting in the room, sweating it out, working on stuff, hours and hours, days and days. So, I was a little like, really? I could do a lot of this stuff at home, but, we need you here. So that was different to get used to. It was a little bit of growing pains, plus getting to know their individual personalities, right? It's like joining a new family. So yeah, a lot of alpha males in that band. So a lot of big personalities. So I just kind of kept quiet and listened. So, but it was cool.
Amazing. What a great experience.
Yeah. I mean, I found my footing with them. We've learned who each other are, and we've got a great relationship now. But at first, it was definitely, at least for me, very awkward because I was feeling everything out. Everything.
Right. How did it feel stepping into the shoes of Russ Anderson? And how did you make the role your own?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it right there with that last, that last point. I just was going in basically saying, I'm not going to be a clone. I'm going to try to stay true to his style, but I'm putting my own stamp on everything myself. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. And, it was well received by the rest of the band. They liked that I wasn't being a copycat. But at the same time, showing a lot of respect to what came before. And I think the fans appreciate that too. I'm not going in and just changing everything up. So it's still familiar, but it's a little modern, a little new. So actually, live, it's a little modern, a little new. No one has heard, well, except for close people, the new recordings yet. So everyone's wanting to hear what it sounds like soon.
Yeah. That's, I read that your first thrash metal show was Forbidden.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it was at the Omni.
At the Omni, okay.
Yeah, early 90s. Yeah,
and then I also read that you were called Little Russ out in the crowd?
Yeah, it was, I think, just because I looked like he did when he was a teenager or something. I mean, I was just starting to sing back then. Nobody knew who I was. I was not even doing the club circuits. I was in garage bands jamming with friends, right? But somebody, I don't know if it was Russ or Craig or somebody, was like, oh, look, Little Russ, because I was just there rocking out and I looked like him. And that kind of stuck, like, oh, Little Russ, Little Russ. And then later on in the career, I was in a band called Magica, and we opened up for Forbidden. And then my solo band Skinner opened up for Forbidden as well. So, I'm not sure if they remembered who it was, that it was me. But yeah, the circle of Bay Area metal life, right? It's very small sometimes.
It is, and that's great. What do you think sets Bay Area metal or Bay Area thrash metal apart from other global metal scenes?
Oh, I mean, they're the originators, right? It all came from here with that first wave, right? Metallica, Exodus. So, I mean, they set the precedent. Everyone else, there are other ones. There's the New York scene, and then Europe has their own sort of variation. But really, I mean, this was the place, right, in the Bay. That's where it all happened. And I think everyone knows that still. It's, a lot of the legacy bands are still performing today. They're still putting out great music. So, some torches have been passed, but not all of them. So there's still, I think, a lot of great, even in the Bay Area now, there's some great up and coming thrash metal bands. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we've got a great future ahead. There's like bands like Phantom Witch, Frolic, Parabellum. There's just these excellent thrash bands that are up and coming just from the Bay Area or even the Sacramento area. So,
yeah, the Sacramento scene seems to be really hot.
Yeah, that's where still the band's all from the Bay Area, but I live in Elk Grove, right south of Sac. So I'm a Sac guy. So
yeah. What was the most memorable show you've played so far with Forbidden?
For me, there's two of them for different reasons. The first one would be my big. So we did a Bay Area secret show, right? Really small one, and then we did a little VIP small show in Belgium. But my first actual, hey, here's the new guy for the world to see was at the ALCATRAZ Festival in Belgium. And that, stepping out on a stage for like 30,000 people or whatnot, and just for the first time, and, we had pyro going. I've never had pyro going. And, I see a wheelchair getting handed across the, guy on the crowd. And I'm just like, I'm used to playing, small clubs. Up until that point, a few sold out shows at Ace of Spades was all those were the biggest crowds. So for me, that is like one of the greatest shows for me. Another one has to be, we performed the Metal Fest in Chile, and mainly just because their fans are incredible. It was the biggest pit I've ever seen. It was wall to wall, just this huge thing, and a guy in the middle running around with a flare. And that was just those two are the standouts so far. But hopefully there's some other ones that can fight for a top position.
It sounds amazing. I know that leading up to AFTERSHOCK, you're going on another tour, I believe, in Europe, like WACKEN and ALCATRAZ.
Yeah.
But how did you feel when Forbidden was announced as part of the AFTERSHOCK lineup?
Oh, I was happy. This is going to be hilarious. I was mainly excited because that was one day that I don't have to buy tickets for the family. That saves some money because I take the family every year to AFTERSHOCK because I have an 18-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son, and they're both metalheads. So they like to see all these bands, and it costs me a lot of money. So that was the funny thing. That was the first thing I was like, sweet, I'm going to save some money that day. But yeah, other than that, Forbidden's only played a handful of times in the Bay since I've joined, and we've never played up here in my backyard where all my friends are. So it's going to be cool to actually perform for all of them, and they get to actually see me with Forbidden instead of just on videos from these festivals in other countries. So,
see, that's great. Being thrash metal fans, like we were just talking about, are there any bands on the lineup you're excited to see? Especially
that day, I could even narrow it down to the stage we're on, not just Friday. So, Friday's great. There's a lot of bands on there, but, we're playing the same stage, same day with Death Angel, right? With Exodus, Testament. Testament's probably my number one favorite thrash metal band, And then we're on the same stage with YNGWIE MALMSTEEN, which is interesting, and Dream Theater. So I get to get my progressive metal, geekery on that day as well. So, and that's a band I've seen in the past, like 5 times. So getting to perform with them would be pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what else do you guys have coming up for Forbidden?
So the next big thing that we've been teasing is the first single with the new lineup. So that's going to drop in June, this next month. I know the date, but I'm not going to say it because I have not seen them officially announce it yet. So, but yeah, so the new single is the first thing that's coming up. And then, of course, as you mentioned prior, we do have a tour. I think we're doing a date down in Southern California that we haven't officially announced.
Okay.
That might be sort of a warm-up show, and then it's off to the festivals and a headline run. So we do have festivals. We start off with WACKEN over in Germany, one of the biggest ones in the world, which is awesome. We have the Helsinki Metal Fest in Finland. We have ALCATRAZ, which I mentioned I made my European debut at, which is awesome. So it's going to be great to get back to that. We also have in France the MOTOCULTOR Festival as well. And then in between, we have some headlining dates in the UK, as well as a handful in Germany. And that's making up the run. So, and that's why a lot of bands do it. A lot of people that don't know that, you get for the festival run, they're like, hey, we're going to do these certain festivals. Now let's put the headlining dates in between so we make it worth it and whatnot. So, but yeah, after that, it's more recording, try to get this album wrapped up so we can hopefully get it out next spring.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So those are the immediate plans. There's always leapfrog ideas and other things in the pipeline, but that's what's happening.
It'd be great to see a nice Barrier performance other than Aftershock after that.
Oh yeah. Oh well, there's something happening this year, but
yeah. I guess my last question would be, was there anybody that influenced you greatly outside of, Russ Anderson and your love for that? You mentioned Testament.
So what's funny is for vocal influences, like Russ, I love Russ Anderson, but he was not an influence on me in any way. And most thrash singers weren't. I would say Chuck Billy is the only thrash singer that I maybe took some influence from. Most of the singers that influenced me were more power metal singers or progressive metal singers. And then a few classics like Rob Halford, obviously, he was a big one. But yeah, some of the guys that I really loved was, when I was a teenager, Sebastian Bach was just, that guy's voice was insane. And I like a lot of power metal singers like Andy Frank from Brainstorm, Matt Barlow, who's sang in Iced Earth for a long time, guys like that. So, Zach Stevens from Sabotage. So those were the more where I was picking up, my style and whatnot. Thrash for me was just something I rocked out to and, went to clubs and just that. But when I was actually trying to learn to sing and do stuff, I didn't really pay attention to a lot of the thrash singers, and I still don't. The thrash is more of an attack and an attitude than, style and technique.
Okay.
In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time. And I really look forward to seeing you guys at Aftershock. That's going to be my favorite day, like you.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
The same way. And yeah, look forward to seeing you guys out and about and the new single and album coming up.
Yeah, definitely. When you're there that day, ping me because you have my contact, and then make sure that we say hi and all that stuff. So it'll be fun.
Will do. Thank you so much.
No, awesome. Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye. Thanks again to Norman Skinner of Forbidden for taking the time to chat with Rock on Record about their upcoming tour and highly anticipated performance at AFTERSHOCK Festival on Friday, October 3rd. Until next time, stay loud, be kind, and always keep it metal.